there's a limit to the amount of carbon dioxide we can afford to dump into the atmosphere if we want to avoid, for example, more than 2 degrees of warming, and that limit is approaching quite rapidly. We have to get to a position where we balance any carbon we use with taking carbon back out of the atmosphere, and technologies exist for doing that, so that the net emissions balance and go to zero. That's what we have to be getting towards. There's a lot more carbon in the ground than we can afford to dump in the atmosphere if we're going to avoid more than 2 degrees of warming. We should be talking about what are we going to do with the rest of that carbon. That's an important conversation. Certain technologies are not so useful for reducing emissions in the short term because they're expensive, but are essential for reducing emissions in the long term. A very single example, very important one, is carbon capture and storage. Meeting the 2-degree goal without carbon capture and storage would cost almost more than twice as much as meeting it with carbon capture and storage. So if we don't develop this technology, we are committing our children to a bill that's twice as big as it need be. And I don't think they'll thank us for that. One of the most interesting recent developments is we are starting now to see the impact of that global change on the weather. And that's a really exciting area of research now in terms of understanding how human influence on climate is actually affecting extreme weather in different parts of the world. To quote Ed Lorenz, climate is what you expect and weather is what you get. And you can turn that around and say climate is what you affect and weather is what gets you.